I'm Casey Morgan, and this is Training for Trail. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Over the coming weeks I'm going to be bringing you a series of training videos, workout videos featuring some of my coached clients, and the workouts will be specific to trail running. So we're going to start with body weight only, exercises that you can incorporate into your training, and over the weeks and months we're going to build up to some more advanced strength and conditioning work, maybe some plyometric work, TRX, kettlebells, these kind of things, but always with a strong focus on trail running and improving your performance. We're also going to look at some injury rehabilitation videos, so injuries which are common to trail runners, and we'll look at some corrective exercise that you can do if you have these injuries. But this week, I'm going to bring you an interview. It's a guy who I've known for a number of years. I've watched his development from a very promising junior. He's had some injury problems in the past like most of us, but I'm delighted to say that 2 weeks ago he became European champion. So without further ado, Jacob Adkin. Okay, so it gives me great pleasure to welcome to the first interview on Training for Trail, Jacob Adkin, European champion. Welcome to the show, Jacob.
Hey, yeah, how you doing?
Very good. How are you? More to the point.
I'm well, yeah, thanks. Really well, really well.
So, Jacob Adkin, European champion. How does that sound?
It's been nearly 2 weeks now, and it's still I'm still unsure as to how I'm feeling about it. To be honest, it's been a bit of a whirlwind. So yeah, not really used to it at all. So it's been quite unusual for me.
Good, but so for people who are maybe unfamiliar with you, Jacob, last season you had a real kind of breakout season with, well, talk us through last season, because that's where you really made a name for yourself on the European and world stage.
Yeah, I finished university last year, and I wanted to kind of just travel around a bit and things. So I went to Chamonix and started just training bigger mountains and having fun with running a bit more. It was the first time I became kind of injury free for a longer period of time, and that I think just really helped get a bit more consistency, and I think that just kind of resulted in the races, or came out in the races that came up, and had just really good fun last summer, and fortunately got in the position whereby I was running as good as I ever have done, and it was just that kind of break I needed, where the training went well and I was in a good place, and so it was a good summer, and then managed to carry it on through the winter a bit and then into this year.
So last summer, the two standout races really, well, from my point of view, were your VK in Chamonix and the World Champs. How did both of those races go for you?
Yeah, so the VK came at the end of my month in Chamonix, so the end of June. So I was going up and down big mountains for a month, and I'd gone up the VK course and a few times, and I think just that all kind of came to a good conclusion at the end, and doing that race, and the atmosphere was amazing. It's something I've not really done a proper VK before, so especially one in Europe. So that was a really good experience, and I think just that month of training up to then was what really kind of made the difference. And it kind of gives you a bit of confidence as well. Like I'd never really had I'd never felt I had a really good kind of standout performance for myself until then, and it just gave me a bit more confidence in both what my potential, I think, and also the training I was doing, and the consistency I could get from the training, and then, like I said before, I was in a really good mental state, and I think that's really important. If you're happy and you're happy with where your running is, and obviously your other parts of life, then that translates very well to performance. So, and then and that continued all the way to September, where like you say, the world champs was pretty surprising for me. I didn't expect that kind of higher position. So I just went into it no kind of expectations at all, and it was like my first senior GB vest. So I just really wanted to enjoy the experience and get the most out of it as I could. And on the day it all came together, and I was just super happy that summer went so well for me. Yeah.
And for the people who are watching, Jacob is too modest to tell you that he won the VK in Chamonix and finished sixth position in the World Championships.
Yeah, sixth. Yeah.
Sixth position in the world is quite incredible. So that kind of confidence must have. I mean, what did that do for your motivation and your belief going into this season?
Yeah, it was definitely. I do look back on them and remember that I can perform at a high level. Obviously, over the winter, you're not doing as many of the mountain races, or you're not running against the people that you do in the summer in the mountain races. So over the winter, you're not sure of your form and as much. And I did have a few. Unfortunately, I did have a few more little niggles and things over winter. But I just, like you say, I look back on those performances and how I was over summer, and knew I could get back to that stage if I kind of kept at the type of training I was doing and the consistency. And the help of my coach was really good in that, and he was just there's no pressure. I don't feel any pressure to do, or I don't try not to put any pressure on myself. I think that's really important. Otherwise, especially for me anyway, I feel if there's a lot of pressure there, you get too nervous and the performance overrides your life. And if that happens, I find that that's detrimental to the performance in the end. So, looking back on last year was really good to follow that through this year, or start to anyway, hopefully.
Something you touched on there, over the winter you had a couple of niggles, and to give a little bit of background, I've known Jacob for a number of years. I worked with him in a sports therapy point of view during his time at university. And something that always struck me with you, Jacob, when you did have your niggles, when you ran for the Edinburgh Uni Hares and Hounds, there were a lot of injuries in that group, but you didn't have the kind of the madness, I would put it, when you were injured. You were always quite relaxed about it, and you weren't training like crazy when you were injured or trying to push through when you needed to rest. Where does that confidence come from?
I think a lot of it's actually from the people I see, much like yourself. They obviously you're professional in your field, so you know what you're talking about.
At least I pretend, Jacob. I pretend.
Well, you're very good at pretending. So I've learned that you can. I mean, I've run through a lot of injuries before, and it's not ended well, and it never usually ends well for anyone. So listening to people like yourself and just soaking up all the advice and the help you get or you go and acquire is vital, I think. I spent the first 3 years of my uni career just constantly injured, and from a kind of bone stress reaction type injury. So from all the injuries I've had, that's the worst, because you can kind of run through it, and you need to kind of run on it or kind of do exercise on it to help it recover. But then if you do too much, it
finding that balance.
So I was frustrated for 3 years, and I saw you more in my fourth year last year, and that was the time I started to realise that there's more to life than just running, and injuries inevitably come, and it's just about giving your body the time, listening to your body more. I think over the last few years I've started to manage to listen to my body more and understand it and kind of react to how it feels each and every day. And I think that's really, really important for longevity anyway. And my coaches I've had have been really good in promoting that. So I think that's really important. And yeah.
And speaking about your coach, this leads us nicely into this year, because you're coached by Robbie Simpson, who
Yeah.
was also one of your teammates in the European Championships this year.
Yeah, that was odd.
It would be odd, and
But it was cool though. It was cool.
something about that European Championships. Just to be the first Scotsman in that race was an incredible achievement, because you had Robbie Simpson, who, well, everybody knows how good Robbie is. He's pushed Killian all the way at Sierre now. He's medalled at the Commonwealth Games. And then you had Andy Douglas, who he's won the first 2 rounds of the World Series this year. How was the mindset going into that race with these guys, and also having Robbie as your coach? How does that dynamic work?
I'll start off with the coach aspect. It's really weird. I really get on well with Robbie. I've known him for quite a few years, and it's so I think it's based on a friendship, and I think that's really what helps it, especially the champs. It never became, or the coach athlete relationship never became kind of intrusive at all, if you like. And yeah, we're just good mates. So although he's my coach, and obviously he gives me coaching advice and he gives me training plans and things, and like talks about the race and how to go about maybe playing it to my best strengths. He's, at the end of the day, he's still just a really good friend, and I think that stops it from getting like odd at all or strange. So and yeah, I mean, being on the team with him and Andy and then Seb as well, that was really, really cool. All good friends, and we just had a really, like, we were in a training camp in Switzerland as well, before, for a week or so beforehand, and we just all had a really good laugh, and I think that we all got really well, and that's what came out on the day. We kind of worked. We wanted to get that team gold, and I think everyone knew that we had the potential to. The Italians obviously are really strong, and a few other teams, but I think we all knew that this was our best shot of doing it, and we just wanted to work for each other and try and get that and do it. And it was a really, really special moment on the day to eventually get that.
And I saw I saw Andy on social media afterwards saying how disappointed he was, but ultimately it was his run being in that position which led to that team gold. So it's
exactly. It's every man counts, and like he's known that since obviously he started taking part in these mountain races and stuff in the team aspect, and we all know that, and it's just putting everything on the line at the end of the day, and just playing it as best you can from how you're feeling each day on the day. So like, honestly, he's someone I look like. Both him and Robbie, they're people I've taken so much advice from and help from, and they're both people I look up to for kind of running inspiration. So
they're both doing incredibly well on the world stage. And
totally, yeah.
The thing I find so impressive with Robbie in particular, his diversity. I mean, he runs everything from 5K on the flat very, very well to the marathon. I mean, that Commonwealth Games performance was incredible, but also the mountain races. His record is unbelievable. So, I mean, for you to learn from these guys, you can't be learning from better, really.
No, yeah, and Andy's the same. He's from like a road background, so he's done like Robbie marathons before, so he's come through everything as well. So yeah, like you say, just the best guys to learn off.
When you sit down before the race with Robbie and you're talking about your approach to the race, what was the strategy going in, and actually within the race, how did that strategy compare to what you had planned?
It kind of went fairly to plan as how I thought it would. I'm never good at. I'm not a fast run on the flat. Just look at my power 10. But so it was I'm always a steady starter. And from there, it was kind of through the town, and then there was a big first main climb for about 2 to 3K after the town selection. So I knew that was the place where I needed to just go through the field, pick off some runners, and try and make the most of that as I could. And I was really surprised to actually get to the front on that climb. I wasn't expecting that position at all. So
it was
it was
fairly
about
early into the race you took the
yeah,
lead.
it was about 4 kilometers in maybe.
Okay.
About a third the way through that first major climb.
How was that
Um,
moment?
it, I didn't panic anyway, which is quite good. I think that's quite good. Um, it was just very new. Like my whole mindset was like, I've got to change my mindset now. I'm not sure how to do this, but I just managed to kind of stay within myself and just keep focusing on my own race. And I think that's
Because
for mountain
that's the
races,
danger.
that's most important.
The
Yeah,
danger is you
yeah,
could get too carried away with the adrenaline, the
yeah,
emotion of
yeah,
being in the lead. But
yeah.
you
I mean,
managed to
it was
keep
in
a
the
lid in
back
it.
of it was in the back of my mind. Yeah, it was like, oh my God, I'm winning the race at the moment. But but I managed to kind of keep that kind of at the back, and then I used it as a bit of motivation, obviously as well, which obviously helps. And but managed to kind of keep my own race tactics going. And from there, it kind of just continued in the same kind of positive fashion. So I was quite fortunate.
At what stage did you know you had it won?
Um, So when after that first major climb, it kind of flattened off for about a kilometer or so, and I actually got a very bad stitch at that stage. So the second guy, Stian from Norway, he ran past, and but I couldn't go any faster in case my stitch got too bad. So I just had to kind of hold on, kind of keep my cool until the next kind of major climb, which went all the way to the finish. So it was about 3K. And I kind of felt strong on the climb, and I knew I could control the stitch better on the climb, and I'd managed to catch Stian again early on in that climb, and that was when I kind of knew I could just keep it going at that kind of constant, steady pace all the way to the finish.
And what was the gap in the end?
Um, 30 seconds, I think, 30
So,
seconds.
a
Yeah,
decent gap.
yeah. Yeah, no, it was good. It was good.
And then European champion.
Yeah. I didn't know what to do when I crossed the line. I've not practiced the celebration.
Yeah, it was quite muted. I saw online, and there was no like
Yeah, I
sliding
did
on
it.
your knees or any
No,
of this.
no, no, no,
You,
no.
you need to
I
work on
didn't.
that.
Yeah, yeah, that could have caused embarrassment. I just did the casual punch in the air. That was it.
That's enough. Very
Yeah,
British.
yeah. That's subtle. Yeah.
So the idea behind this podcast is it's all about training for trail running. And actually, the first video was going to be workouts, but then you went and interrupted that with your result. So while I have you here, how does your training look on a weekly basis? Like, for example, the month leading up to this World Championship. What would be a typical week for you?
Typical week. So Monday, just usually like an hour's easy run. Tuesday, maybe more of a steady run, about the same kind of time as well. But I only do like two sessions a week. So I used to do like three, but I found that caused me more kind of niggles and things. So with Robbie, I kind of cut it down to two, put one or two more steady runs in. So that's say on the Tuesday, do a session on the Wednesday. And my two sessions, one is usually like a hill session usually. And depending on the race, I'm building up towards the hill reps could be long or short,
Okay.
or kind of the time as I get nearer to the race, the reps usually get a bit shorter. And then Thursday just an easy run again. Friday easy or steady, and then Saturday like a next session. So that's usually if I've done hill reps before, it's usually like a tempo or on the flat, or just kind of longer reps, like 1 kilometer to mile reps. And then Sunday is long run.
And most of these runs are
And
done
with the
off road,
longer races
Jacob.
coming up, I try and do all my runs off road, yeah, as much as I can. I've always become injured, especially because I had my big shin injury couple of years ago. So I try and stick off the road as much as I can, less impact, and if I'm running uphill, that's even better because impact's a lot less going uphill as well. So.
And how about away from running? Do you do strength and conditioning work, core conditioning work?
Um, uh, I used to do quite a lot of strength and conditioning and things. But especially last summer, since I moved to Chamonix for a bit, and I just found that the running itself provided enough strength work in a way. A lot of the terrain I was running on was quite technical. I was doing a lot of big hills, obviously, so I was getting a lot of strength from that. And I just found that I wasn't getting injured if I wasn't doing the strength conditioning along with the running. And I just basically did core work, and I still kind of just do mainly core work at the moment. Occasionally I do some like glute exercise and things, but nothing too major. I don't go to the gym at all or anything.
Good man, Jacob. Good man.
I know that's a big one, counterintuitive to a lot of people, but it seems to work.
It's working for you, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And what about cross training? Do you do any cycling, swimming, any of these kind of things?
I would do a lot more cycling, I think, if I had a bike. I live in Chamonix at the moment for the summer, but I just haven't had access to a bike yet.
I think we should do a crowdfunding for Jacob's bike.
Much appreciated. Yeah.
We'll start that immediately, Jacob.
Yeah. Just a little like French kind of like relaxed bike. That's fine.
Yeah, with a basket.
Yeah, the basket's fun from a baguette. Yeah.
No problem. So the future, what do you have planned next?
I'm actually off to the Dolomites today for the Sky Race this weekend.
Very nice. The Golden Trail Series.
Next stage, Golden Trail Series. Yeah, the next stage of that. So that'll be my first Sky Race I've done. So it'll be quite different.
You're doing this as a runner or as a cameraman? Because I've seen you hooked up with all of this gear for Mont Blanc.
Yeah. I've done a Sky Race as a cameraman before, but not as
You're going to participate this time?
I am participating with the number on. I am participating. Yeah. So that'll be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. It looks amazing out there. So, and then Seasonal is the next main one after that, and then actually I'm off to Pikes Peak in America. A couple of weeks after that, so they're all part of the Golden Trail series, and kind of I did Seasonal last year, really enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to that one again. And then at the end of the year, I'll try and go to the trials for the World Championships, which are in Argentina this year actually. So hopefully that will go well.
That'd be very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to keep you much longer, Jacob, because I know you've got to get to the airport.
Don't worry.
We have some questions from Facebook for you.
Perfect.
So, number one, from Malcolm McGregor in Edinburgh. He asks if you ever suffer from poor sleep, and if you do, how do you tweak your training to cope with that?
I can't say I've had too much. I've noticed I have poor sleep at all. I do, like I said before, when I had my injuries and things, I do really kind of try and listen to my body. So if I do feel tired one day and I'm maybe scheduled to do a steady run, say, I do back it off if I'm feeling tired. There's obviously no point in pushing your body through something that it's not kind of willing to do. So it's kind of more just gauging each day as you go running, what your body feels like. So I've not suffered too much from poor sleep before, but if I do, it'll be just gauge your training from that, how you feel.
I don't know if that helps, Malcolm.
Sorry.
Okay. Another question. When the going gets tough in the race, what is it that spurs you on? What keeps you going?
Look up, I'd say. Most of the places I've been, I've got a really good view. I often forget that. Often my head's down, especially when you get uphill, you kind of, your head's down, you're grinding away. But I've managed, like last weekend at the Europeans, the Matterhorn was just right there, the whole course basically.
That's quite a nice distraction.
Yeah. It's like, it was really good. Just like look up, and I was like, whoa, that's cool. So yeah, definitely just look up Portuguese surroundings. Just look. I think the finish line, it motivates you.
Not in an ultra. Don't think of the
Fair, yeah.
finish
I've not
line
done
in an
that yet.
ultra.
No, fair, yeah. Well, alter the answer for them.
um,
The
okay,
food, the food.
how do you celebrate becoming European champion? This comes in three parts. It's from Ryan Stewart from Shettleston. So, how did you celebrate becoming European champion? How many pints? And do you have any hangover cure recommendations?
Okay. Right. So, the first one was, oh, how did I celebrate? I spent 2 hours in doping control. That was how I celebrated.
Nice.
um,
How many pints in doping control?
to be fair, we were looking at that, but apparently you're not allowed alcohol into the holding room. So unfortunately, just water. I was on the coffee as well. But then once I got down, I had a few pints, yeah. And then it was quite expensive in Zermatt, so pints cost less than water actually, so it's quite a good value.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I know, and so there was a few. I had a few, and there was a good party.
Okay. Next question. Any plans to run a road marathon? Following in the footsteps of your coach?
Not in the near future, no. Not in the
No?
near future.
I thought
No,
that might be the
sorry.
answer. Any plans to run UTMB?
I need to up my mileage before then.
Just a touch.
I need to take some advice off you, yeah.
My
Learn how
advice
to
would be don't do it. Don't do it. Okay,
Yeah, so not for a few years.
one last question. When are we going to see you at Ultra Trail Scotland?
Ooh, when is it?
Next
What
year.
month is it?
June the
Next
20th
year,
next year.
June the 20th. Hopefully next year, maybe then.
Good man, Jacob. We'll hold you to that. We'll
You'll
hold you
have
to
to,
that.
I'll have to sign a contract with you or something.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've got it recorded.
Fair, oh, yeah,
Everybody's.
fair, yeah. Fair. It's
Okay,
worldwide.
Jacob. It has been an absolute pleasure, and I can't think of a more fitting first guest. So
Thank you for asking me.
I won't keep any more of your time. I'll let you get to the airport, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you very much, Casey. Thank you.
Cheers, Jacob.